Hello everyone, Diogo Tadini here. Welcome to another video here on my channel. And today I'm going to do a very simple comparison between two stabilizing systems. I do think that many people have doubts about them. Which one to buy, how should I start with, price range and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into details like how much each of them weigh or the measurements and all that kind of stuff. More on the operational side, how easy it is to operate each of them. And then hopefully by the end of the video, you are going to be able to pick one for you. Obviously, it's always better for you to test before to see if that specific system fits in your workflow. Sometimes one will be faster than the other. It will depend more on you rather than my opinion, which essentially that's what this is. It's my opinion comparing two different products to pretty much achieve a very similar result. So first I'm talking about the GlideCam HD 4000. This is my first ever, actually my second ever stabilizer. The first one was one from India and it sucked. But this one is my first professional stabilizer. And the second one that I recently bought alongside my Sony a6500 is the Xion Crane, or Xion or Xion or Xion or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's very popular these days. So it's a 3-axis gimbal. It's a very good piece of gear. So basically, both of them will give you a very similar result. When I first got the GlideCam HD 4000, I felt that I could do all those amazing movements now, you know, all those tracking shots and everything. But that's the tricky part. It does take you a lot of time and practice to maneuver your camera on that thing. I mean, it's good, but you have to balance really, really well. And it does take time for you to actually master the whole thing. I did meet already maybe 3 or 4 different operators that didn't have any vests or any accessories to go with. 2 guys from Australia, 1 guy from America, and I think that's it actually. So 3 guys who I've seen operate that. 4 actually, yeah, there's 2 in America and 2 in Australia. I'm not saying that there's no other person who can operate it properly, but in my experience, I did see these 4 people operating like flawless. I mean, they are really good with the GlideCams. But then, after a few years, the industry came up with new technology, the 3-axis gimbal, which I'm sure you're familiar with now. There is plenty of them. There is Xion, Pilotfly, obviously the Movis, as well as DJI with the Ronims. So there is many out there for you to pick. Obviously some of them will be more expensive than the others. Some of the others will be able to carry more payload, so your camera can be heavier. And that's what I'm going to talk about here to explain you roughly what's the positives and negatives of each system. So here is just my opinion, some points that I decided to highlight to tell you what exactly I feel about each system. So the GlideCam normally takes longer to balance. Bear in mind that this is all about your experience as well. I mean, if you always use the same lens, the same setup on the GlideCam, probably you set it up way faster than someone who just started. It can become really heavy depending on what camera system you're using. Obviously, comparing to the Xion Crane, the GlideCam HD 4000 will support heavier camera systems. And as I said in the beginning, it does take you a lot of time to practice. I mean, it will take you loads and loads and loads and loads of times to try, make mistakes, and then maybe you're gonna master. I mean, the first thing that you have to learn, as I said before, is how to balance. Balancing is key. You have to balance properly. You have to read the instructions. You watch videos on YouTube. There's plenty of videos out there explaining how you actually balance this thing. Once you do it, then the other side, the other 50% will start. It's you managing to actually operate that thing properly. As I said, it does take time, but you can actually get amazing shots with it. One example is Devin Supertramp. I mean, this guy is crazy good with this thing. I didn't mention him in the beginning. He wasn't included in one of those 2 Americans that I said, but he is amazing. He started operating when the 5D Mark II came out. GlideCam even made one specific with his name, his signature. So he is amazing with it. Now he operates Reds, and I mean, it's crazy heavy. It will get you tired. If you spend long with this thing in your hands, you feel it. You know, it's it's difficult, but he managed to master it. So that's why he said it will take you long to actually master it, but it's well worth it because, you know, for instance, you don't need any batteries. I mean, all the 3-axis gimbals, you will need batteries. In this case, GlideCam is only you, the camera, and the stabilizer. Nothing else needed. I mean, you don't have to worry about extra batteries or perhaps a power bank to, you know, charge your gimbal. So that's another good point on the GlideCam side. Now for the Xeon Crane, there's a few positives and negatives as well. First thing that to me is really important is if you read instructions and watch some videos, it will not take you long to balance. I mean, it depends on how you set it up. I'm just gonna show you. I showed you in the first video that I made about this, but this will make your life a lot easier. I do have on a GlideCam as well. It's a Manfrotto quick release for Manfrotto plates. So this helps a lot as well. So it will be faster for you to set it up. I guess by now everyone knows that all these gimbals, the small gimbals, are fairly compact, so they're perfect for traveling. An example of someone who uses a lot when traveling is Brandon Lee. He makes amazing videos with Sony cameras. I mean, I'm not saying that you can make only with Sony cameras, but the Sony camera system is very compact, it's very small. He normally uses the A7S, I think Mark II, or the A6500. So they're very small, and obviously they help to keep the weight a lot less than, for instance, some systems like Canon, for example. This particular gimbal will hold up to 1.8 kilograms. So I've seen some tests online. Someone put an actual Sony FS5, which is, I actually don't know the weight of the Sony FS5, but it's pretty impressive. But in order for you to not put too much stress on the motors, I would keep it really, really light. So for myself, for instance, I use the Sony A6500 with a 10-18 lens, which is far from reaching the 1.8 kilograms, but to me is a perfect setup for this small gimbal. Another good thing about gimbals, I mean, you can try to do the same with the GlideCam, but I'm pretty sure with the gimbals, the chances for you to actually pull off a shot like this is way easier, mimicking sliders or cranes, actual jibs. So, you know, obviously it won't be too high, but still you can mimic the movement of a jib. But actually, if you decide to do something more innovative, I actually saw a video not long ago. This guy had a monopod and attached it to the end of the gimbal, and he basically was taking these crazy like high shots, and it was literally like pretty much like a drone. So, you know, it's all about your creativity as well, but this type of shots you won't be able to get with the GlideCam. So it all depends on what you need, and obviously in the end your creativity, that's what it counts. I did some shots outside with the GlideCam and with the Xeon, whatever you want to call it again, I don't know the name of it, but I did some tests. The shutter speed was quite high because I don't have an ND filter for this lens specifically, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna get an idea of what exactly each of them look. I haven't operated the GlideCam in a long time, so I'm sorry for the quality of it, but first I will do without stabilization, and then after I will do with stabilization, and you see the difference and the kind of shots that you can achieve with each of them, and obviously making it better in post by stabilizing it. Right guys, and that's it for me today. I hope this video was helpful for some of you. I mean, it's really important to obviously test something before you buy it. That's key. I mean, if you can rent it, maybe in a local shop, or maybe borrow from someone, I think it's good to actually test the gear before you make an investment, especially if you're starting in the filmmaking industry. But hopefully by showing you these two different systems, you'll be able to decide what works best for you. And if you like this video, please drop a like below. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, please do subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of the new videos. I will be working on some branding stuff soon, my new website, my new logo, and hopefully some really good stuff that you guys are going to enjoy. Next week I'm receiving a pretty exciting thing, so hopefully I will be able to make a video on that as well. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.